Hello! We have a new story today. This one's called Thank You, Amelia, Bedelia. You might have heard it before. It can be a little bit silly. Mrs. Rogers was all in a dither. Great Aunt Myra is coming today. Now that is nice, said Amelia Bedelia. I do love company. We've been trying for years to get her to visit, said Mrs. Rogers. But Great Aunt Myra says the only place she feels at home is at home. So everything must be exactly right. We do want her to be happy here. Now don't you worry your head, said Amelia Bedelia. I'll fix everything. What should I do first? Well, the guest room must be made ready. Strip the sheets off the bed. Remake it with the new rosebud sheets, said Mrs. Rogers. Thank goodness you're here. Amelia Bedelia went to the guest room. These folks do have odd ways. Imagine stripping sheets after you use them. Amelia Bedelia shook her head, but she stripped those sheets. When you take them off the bed, that's called stripping the sheets. She was tearing them into strips. That doesn't mean the same thing. Amelia Bedelia had just finished when the doorbell rang. That must be the laundryman with Mr. Rogers' shirts, called Mrs. Rogers. Please check them and make sure they're all there. Amelia Bedelia hurried to the door and took the package. Amelia Bedelia opened the package. She unfolded each shirt. 2 sleeves, 1 collar, 1 pocket, 6 buttons. Yes, they're all here. That's kind of strange, but she was checking to see if all the parts of the shirt were there instead of if all the shirts were in the package. English can be confusing. There's not a thing missing, said Amelia Bedelia. Now, to check them. It would be a sight easier to buy them already checked, said Amelia Bedelia, but she quickly checked each shirt. That means she made little squares all over each shirt. Not check with her eyes, but made it into like a checkerboard. Mrs. Rogers came downstairs in a rush. Amelia Bedelia, my bright pink dress has spots on it. Please remove them with this spot remover. Leave the dress out. I will wear it tonight. Now I must go to the market. Take the spots out. I'm a little worried about what's going to happen next. Amelia Bedelia looked at the bright pink dress. I don't see any spots. This dress just needs washing. Then another dress caught Amelia Bedelia's eyes. Look carefully in the closet. She must have meant her light pink dress. Now that one sure is spotted. Amelia Bedelia held the dress up. It looks mighty nice with spots in it, but I guess she's tired of it that way. Amelia Bedelia put spot remover on each spot, and then she waited. Nothing happened. I didn't think that stuff would work, said Amelia Bedelia, so she got the scissors, and Amelia Bedelia removed every spot from the dress. Now, spot remover in a container just means you're trying to get the dirty part off. Spot remover with the scissors means you're cutting the spots out. Not exactly the same thing. Amelia Bedelia, called Mrs. Rogers, please take these groceries. Amelia Bedelia ran to take the bag. Here are some roses, too. Do scatter them around the living room. I must get my hair done now. While I'm gone, wash all the vegetables and string the beans. If you have time, make a jelly roll. Great Aunt Myra does love a jelly roll, said Mrs. Rogers. Amelia Bedelia stopped in the living room. Seems like roses would look a lot nicer sitting proper like in vases, but if she wants them scattered, scattered they will be. There's two ways for scatter the roses. That means put them in vases around the room. But Amelia Bedelia thought scattered mean toss them all about. I think she might have the wrong meaning of scattered. Amelia Bedelia went to the kitchen with the groceries. She washed all the vegetables. That's what she was told to do. Then she found a ball of string, and Amelia Bedelia strung all those beans. She put them on a string. That's stringing beans, but I don't think that's what she meant. I think she meant get them prepared. Jelly, roll, exclaimed Amelia Bedelia. I never heard tell of jelly rolling. But Amelia Bedelia got out a jar of jelly. She tried again and again, but she could not get that jelly to roll. A jelly roll is actually a word for a dessert. It's not trying to make the jelly roll across the floor. Amelia Bedelia washed her hands and she got out a mixing bowl. Amelia Bedelia began to mix a little of this and a pinch of that. Great Aunt Myra, no, Great Aunt Myra. There's not going to be any rolling jelly in this house tonight, said Amelia Bedelia. Mr. and Mrs. Rogers arrived home at the same time. Mrs. Rogers called out, Amelia Bedelia, please separate 3 eggs and pare the other vegetables you washed. I will do the cooking. Then she and Mrs. Rogers hurried upstairs to dress. She and Mr. Rogers hurried upstairs to dress. Amelia Bedelia took out 3 eggs. I wonder why they need to be separated. They've been together all day long and nothing has happened. It's like when I have to separate you guys if you're talking too much. But Amelia Bedelia separated those eggs. Pare the vegetables? Amelia Bedelia laughed and she said, Here, you two go together and you two go, and now be careful or I will be separating you too. P-A-R-E means you're doing preparation with the vegetables. P-A-I-R means you're putting them in 2 and 2 and 2 and 2, like an even number. So here's those separated eggs. She didn't take the yolk and the white and separate them. She put them in different places. And here are the vegetables in pairs. Not prepared. Pairs like shoes. Amelia Bedelia went up to Mrs. Rogers' room. What should I do with these stripped sheets? Remember, she cut them into stripes? She asked. Stripped sheets! Exclaimed Mrs. Rogers, but she got no further. Mr. Rogers roared. What in thunderation happened to my shirts? Oh, don't you like big checks? I didn't have time to do little ones. But I will next time, promised Amelia Bedelia. He has checked all his shirts. Those are called checks. Good evening, grandniece. Good evening, grandnephew. My, that trip made me hungry, said Great Aunt Myra. I'll cook dinner right now, said Mrs. Rogers, and everybody went into the kitchen. So here she is coming. And now they're going over to the kitchen. Amelia Bedelia, did you string the beans? Asked Mrs. Rogers. Yes, see, they do give such a homey look, said Amelia Bedelia. I'm not sure that's what she was supposed to do. Where are the eggs I asked you to separate? Asked Mrs. Rogers. Well, here's one, and one is behind the clock, and the other one's over there. Did I separate them far enough apart? Asked Amelia Bedelia. Mrs. Rogers said nothing. So Amelia Bedelia went on. And I pared the vegetables. They went together real well. There weren't any left over. Must have been an even number. Mrs. Rogers slapped her hand on the table and hit right in a sticky blob. Ugh! What's that? She shouted. Jelly! I tried to make it roll, but it just plip-plopped all over the place, said Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia! Exclaimed Mrs. Rogers. How do you get things so mixed up? Things mixed up? Oh, I plumb forgot, said Amelia Bedelia, and she hurried over to the stove. Amelia Bedelia opened the oven door. Great Aunt Myra sat up straight and sniffed. Hot apple pie? I do declare. Now that's the kind of mixed-up thing I like. Great Aunt Myra announced, Grandniece, Grandnephew, I like it here. Oh, Great Aunt Myra, we're so glad, said Mr. and Mrs. Rogers. They both began to talk at once, but Great Aunt Myra wasn't much for words. She had her eyes on that last piece of pie. Great Aunt Myra put the last piece of pie on her plate. Then she said, Grandniece, Grandnephew, I will visit you often. That Amelia Bedelia really knows how to make a body feel at home. Thank you, Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia smiled. She and Great Aunt Myra would get along. Even when we make mistakes in English or in Spanish, when we say something and it gets mixed up, as long as we're trying really hard, people still love us, and they know it that we're trying really hard. Have a good day. I'll read another story tomorrow. Bye.